The sitting down and eating together is as important to the health as the food itself. What happens with food selection and food preparation and food planning really is culture.
From a spiritual understanding of our relationship with food, we have to first recognize that the fundamental understanding of what constitutes family is who do you eat with? Who do you bring together to your table? What is the household that eats at your table? So from a spiritual respect, the understanding of how we are family, how we are community, comes through food.
There's a whole bunch right here, see?
Food and the gift of food has been extremely important to us as people. And we grew up in a really poor household, financially wise. We had no money, but we were rich in the fact that we had our gardens. We still had our gardens. My mother still took care of the gardens. My clan grandmothers did. And when people came over, we fed them. And that was the custom in the old days. That's how you show respect for your people. That's how you adopt your relatives as well. The first thing you do is you feed them and you give them gifts.
Let this food to us be blessed.
We say grace, or we give thanksgiving to God 3 times a day for our daily food. Now, we don't say thanks to God for any other commodity, so to speak, but we do thank God for the food. And so it's at our very base relationship with God, being the food provider, the ultimate provider of our life, that what sustains us in life. The connection is strong.
The garden is a huge part of our identity and always has been. Not only our identity, it's part of our spirituality. It's part of who we are as human beings along this river. And so the foods were extremely well respected. The foods were alive. The foods had spirit because it kept us healthy. And we never had the obesity you find today because of the government foods that we got later on.
We need to say thank you at the table for our food and what the earth has provided us. There is a system in place. You know, we come to the earth and we leave the earth at a certain time, and the decisions we make in between those dates is really important. And food, we make food decisions at a minimum 3 to 5 times a day.
And our relationship with food is at the center of all religious beliefs and all religious traditions, because food is central to what constitutes family, what constitutes community, what constitutes culture.
The garden crops, the garden corn, for example, all that was extremely sacred. What you can hear from the women of our nation is that they were considered the children. And especially when they start growing up in their gardens, they would consider them the children. They would sing lullabies and they would pray and they would talk. And I can remember my mother doing that when I was a kid. I remember going out there and we were weeding the garden and she would be singing to them and talking to them. And so those were very sacred items for us. They were part of our family. They were part of us as spiritual beings because we believed that they were alive.
Unfortunately, our modern society has broken down that relationship. Families don't eat together as they used to. Fast food and convenience food has replaced that relationship that we've had in dining together, in spending time together, where the dining room table is a time when we reconstitute the family.
We are a nation of overfed and undernourished people. Very undernourished, eating large quantities of factory or science-made food. If we're going to change, everybody talks about obesity. It's not an obesity issue, epidemic. It's an epidemic of not having food traditions in our home. It's an epidemic of not eating smart and not moving more.
Another thing that messed us up too is the government intervention, if you will. Because when the government came in, they started giving us food in the way of commodities. Now, this food they gave us wasn't healthy at all. You know, they gave us coffee that we didn't know about. They gave us the sugar. They gave us a lot of lard. And so there's a lot to learn. But I think it's an exciting time. I think it's in a time when we're looking at traditional agriculture, that we need to go back to that from a philosophic standpoint, from a physical standpoint, as seeing your garden. I would love to see every home on a reservation have a garden, and respecting that garden as they do other things as well. And I think we'll get there. I think it'll be a while, but I think we're gonna go towards that eventually.
The food system needs to be a just system because it is very fundamental to the survival of humanity. And we're not creating that justice when someplace between 800 and a little over 1 billion people go hungry every night. It tells us that our food system does not serve humanity.
My message is always that food is more than something to eat. Food impacts all of the components of our being: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And if we want a strong society, a strong community, our public health message is plan your food, sit together, thank someone for the food, and use it as an opportunity to connect and bond with the people you care about.